Back to reality today. Back to the good old Morecambe Bay weather. Rain, wind, cold. Back to the school runs. Back to real life stuff.
Boxing Board of Control's testing agency have also tested multiple times in the build-up to this fight. They've all been negative. There was an adverse finding in a VADA test that both teams were made aware of. The levels, the blood tests, everything were analysed by...
Breaking news in the boxing world as Tyson Fury reacts strongly to Tommy Fury's failed PD test ahead of his scheduled clash with Eddie Hall. Tyson labels it as an embarrassment for the family, adding huge controversy and pressure on Tommy before stepping into this high-risk fight.
He cheated, man. He cheated. He had rockets up his ass. He cheated.
Do you still feel
He
that?
cheated. Cheated. Total cheater.
John Fury reacts with mixed emotion, calling for strict punishment if the allegations are true, but also stressing innocence until the B sample confirms anything. The tension here adds more drama to Tommy Fury's situation ahead of the Eddie Hall fight, with the family clearly divided between frustration and fairness. Eddie Hall's camp stays professional, but clearly cautious as the situation around Tommy Fury builds tension before fight night. They confirm he is still cleared to fight, but the uncertainty around the B sample creates doubt. From a competitive standpoint, this kind of distraction only benefits Eddie Hall, who is preparing with raw focus, while Tommy Fury's situation becomes more complicated and mentally draining.
He's clear to fight on Saturday, but we need to talk with him and make him comfortable. Yes, we could use other commissions. It's not something we're looking to do. We want to move forward with the British Boxing Board of Control.
Where are we with the whole B sample? When will we get some clarity on that?
Not before the fight, but again, you know, with the British Boxing Board of Control, that's actually irrelevant in terms of their testing agencies. We've just been waiting for all the final test results to come back from VAR.
Liam Goff breaks down the technical side of testing, explaining how even small traces can remain in the system depending on the test type. While it sounds scientific, in the context of Tommy Fury's situation, it only deepens suspicion. For Eddie Hall, this creates an uneven mental battlefield where questions about fairness linger before the fight even begins.
I'm just chucking out there. If depending on the amount, that will depend on how long it remains in your system. So from what I can gather, if you've taken a very limited amount, very little amounts, it could stay in your system. Depending on the nature of the test, if it was a saliva test, if it was a urine test, if it was a hair test, it's going to stay in your system a lot longer. But
Duke McKenzie raises serious doubts about the consistency of the testing process, questioning how both samples can return positive results. This fuels controversy around Tommy Fury even more, shifting attention away from training and onto legitimacy. For Eddie Hall, this chaos only strengthens his position mentally, as his opponent enters fight week surrounded by uncertainty and scrutiny. Dave Coldwell tries to balance explanation and reality, suggesting contamination theories while still admitting the only confirmed fact is a failed test. That uncertainty keeps the controversy alive. In a high-pressure fight against Eddie Hall, even unclear allegations damage momentum, and Tommy Fury now enters the build-up with questions hanging over his credibility.
Is there a perfect reason why it's a tiny molecule, the tiny trace that's been left? That's why it got contaminated. One sample was tested positive, and then Connor cheated. I don't know, because we only know the facts are failed to drug test. That's the only thing.
Eddie Hearn reacts with frustration and disbelief, clearly rejecting claims of sabotage. His emotional response shows how serious the situation has become within boxing circles. For Eddie Hall, this surrounding negativity only adds weight to his upcoming fight, as Tommy Fury is now dealing with both public doubt and industry backlash simultaneously.
But do you know what is the absolute liberty about all of this? Is the way that he, after he failed that test on Monday, texts me, texts you, to say, I swear I've not taken anything. This is sabotage. This is just the system against me. Fuck off. It's an absolute, you know what, it makes me sick. Sick.
Derek Chisora takes a brutal stance, calling for severe punishment for anyone caught using banned substances. His anger reflects how seriously fighters view this issue inside boxing. In the context of Tommy Fury versus Eddie Hall, comments like this amplify pressure on Tommy, while Eddie Hall benefits from a cleaner mental narrative heading into a high-profile clash.
You know, they should, everybody who gets caught taking drugs should get a fucking 10-year ban, man. Fuck everybody. I don't understand why we have to fucking footsie around this shit.
Anthony Joshua reacts with clear disappointment and confusion, showing even top-level fighters are unsure what is really happening around Tommy Fury's situation. His words reflect how damaging this controversy is becoming for the sport as a whole. When elite fighters start distancing themselves emotionally from an incident, it shows how serious the impact is. For Eddie Hall, this only increases focus because his opponent is now surrounded by doubt, confusion, and public concern rather than pure fight build-up energy.
He's been test positive, yeah.
It's happened, man. It happens in this sport. It's not new. It's happened to me already. I'm just happy I invest in this antidote.
Adam Catterall delivers a straightforward but strong reaction, highlighting how serious any failed drug test is in boxing. There is no softening of language here, only disappointment and concern for the sport's integrity. This kind of reaction builds more pressure around Tommy Fury, making the narrative heavier by the day. Meanwhile, Eddie Hall benefits from a cleaner mental position going into the fight, as the focus shifts away from competition and more toward controversy surrounding his opponent.
Incredibly shocking. When any fighter fails a performance-enhancing drug test, it is incredibly shocking and disappointing.
Spencer Oliver expresses shock and disbelief, questioning how such substances could even appear at such a critical stage in a fighter's career. The tone is clearly one of frustration and confusion, especially considering what was at stake for Tommy Fury. This kind of reaction damages credibility further, even before full facts are confirmed. For Eddie Hall, this situation only strengthens his psychological advantage, as the spotlight is now heavily focused on controversy rather than preparation. Johnny Nelson raises logical concerns about decision-making and awareness in professional boxing, questioning why any fighter would risk such consequences. His reaction reflects a wider frustration in the boxing community about discipline and responsibility. In this context, Tommy Fury's situation becomes even more damaging because it is not just about results, but judgment. For Eddie Hall, this creates an environment where his opponent is already under heavy scrutiny before stepping into the ring.
Whatever, and people think, oh, you won't know what stays for 2 weeks. I don't know, why would you take it knowing there's a possibility that it's going to be in your system? And why would you take it for our sport anyway?
Ade Oladipo presents a more balanced but still uncertain viewpoint, suggesting possible explanations while openly admitting how strange the situation feels. There is hesitation in fully defending or condemning Tommy Fury, which reflects the unclear nature of the controversy. However, even this neutral stance adds instability to Tommy's public image. For Eddie Hall, the uncertainty works in his favor, as opponents perform best mentally when they are fully focused, not surrounded by ongoing doubt and speculation.
If it's somehow in his system from other means, I know that might sound crazy, but I guess we have to give him the benefit of the doubt, do we? I'd like to think we do. But yeah, this is wild. Honestly, this is...
Carl Frampton delivers one of the strongest reactions in this entire discussion, calling for lifetime bans in cases involving performance-enhancing drugs. His argument is rooted in safety and fairness, highlighting how dangerous boxing becomes when fighters are potentially enhanced. This raises the stakes massively around Tommy Fury's situation, because even allegations create public pressure and damage trust. From Eddie Hall's perspective, this narrative only strengthens his position mentally, as he enters a fight where his opponent is already surrounded by controversy. Whether proven or not, the perception alone changes everything. In boxing, perception can be just as powerful as reality, and Frampton's stance shows how seriously the sport treats any hint of unfair advantage. It also puts governing bodies under pressure to act decisively, because the credibility of the sport is always on the line when situations like this arise.
High-profile guys getting caught, and it's just horrible. I genuinely, and I know you without saying, without going fucking fully mental here, I just believe if you're caught with any performance-enhancing drug, you should be banned.
Adam Smith reacts with cautious uncertainty, acknowledging the unpredictable nature of boxing while refusing to jump to conclusions about the situation. His tone reflects a broadcaster trying to remain neutral while still recognizing how unusual the circumstances are. The key takeaway here is uncertainty itself, because when even experienced commentators cannot clearly define what is happening, the narrative becomes unstable. For Tommy Fury, this lack of clarity only adds pressure heading into a high-profile fight against Eddie Hall. In contrast, Eddie benefits from a simpler mindset, focusing purely on preparation while the outside noise continues to build around his opponent. Boxing often thrives on chaos, but when that chaos surrounds one fighter more than the other, it creates a psychological imbalance before the first bell even rings.
Look, you never know in boxing. It's expect the unpredictable. Do I think it was staged? No.
Frank Warren delivers a firm and direct assessment, focusing on the seriousness of multiple positive tests rather than speculation. His tone makes it clear that two separate findings escalate the issue significantly, regardless of how small the detected amount may be. This creates a stronger narrative of accountability that cannot be ignored. For Tommy Fury, this adds further pressure because now the conversation is not just about one incident, but repeated results that demand explanation. In a high-profile fight against Eddie Hall, this kind of scrutiny can shift public perception dramatically. Even without final rulings, repeated testing issues create doubt in the eyes of fans and professionals. Meanwhile, Eddie Hall benefits from a cleaner psychological environment, as the focus shifts away from him and onto his opponent's ongoing controversy and explanations that still need to be addressed.
The A samples, then obviously they're not been contaminated. And if that is the case, then he's obviously got to explain how twice, on two occasions, that he's had that PED inside him.
Dave Coldwell attempts to break down possible explanations while still grounding the discussion in facts, which are the failed tests themselves. His approach shows the difficulty of separating speculation from confirmed information in situations like this. While contamination theories are mentioned, the reality remains that the test results are the only solid evidence available. This keeps Tommy Fury under constant scrutiny, as uncertainty continues to surround the case. For Eddie Hall, this uncertainty is beneficial from a psychological standpoint, because preparation becomes more stable when the opponent's situation is unstable. In boxing, clarity is power, and right now Tommy Fury does not have full clarity around him. That alone affects how fans and analysts interpret the upcoming fight, making it less about pure sporting build-up and more about controversy and unanswered questions.
Is there a perfect reason why it's a tiny molecule, the tiny trace that's been left? That's why it got contaminated. One sample was tested positive, and then kind of cheated. I don't know, because we only know the facts are it's failed two drug tests. That's the only.
John Fury reacts emotionally, acknowledging the seriousness of illegal substance use while still expressing sympathy for the situation. His statement reflects the internal conflict within the Fury family as they deal with growing controversy. This emotional pressure adds another layer to Tommy Fury's preparation, as family reactions can heavily influence mindset before a major fight. For Eddie Hall, this situation indirectly works in his favor because emotional instability on the opponent's side can affect focus and performance. When a fighter enters a camp surrounded by public criticism, family tension, and ongoing scrutiny, it becomes harder to maintain pure fight focus. This is where mental strength becomes just as important as physical preparation, and right now the narrative suggests Tommy Fury is dealing with far more external pressure than Eddie Hall going into this clash.
And enlighten people in the world today that it is illegal to use your steroids, and that's what he's doing to gain an edge. Well, I feel sorry for him.
John Fury reacts emotionally, acknowledging the seriousness of illegal substance use while still expressing sympathy for the situation. His statement reflects the internal conflict within the Fury family as they deal with growing controversy. This emotional pressure adds another layer to Tommy Fury's preparation, as family reactions can heavily influence mindset before a major fight. For Eddie Hall, this situation indirectly works in his favor because emotional instability on the opponent's side can affect focus and performance. When a fighter enters a camp surrounded by public criticism, family tension, and ongoing scrutiny, it becomes harder to maintain pure fight focus. This is where mental strength becomes just as important as physical preparation, and right now the narrative suggests Tommy Fury is dealing with far more external pressure than Eddie Hall going into this clash.